If you could only do 3 exercises for the rest of your life to build full body muscle, functional strength, my top 3 exercises would be the deadlift, the pull up, and the push up. And each of those exercises comes with different variations in which to do it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the B-Hole episode 31. In this episode, I'm going to be discussing all kinds of fitness tips, knowledge, thoughts, opinions, all types of shit. I'm going to talk about a stinky pussy experience, which is not very pleasant. I'm going to be reading a few different comments that I got on my YouTube channel. I'm going to be doing a couple emails, and obviously I'm going to give a UFC review of the fights this last Saturday in Brooklyn. So I just talked about the deadlift, the pull-up, and the push-up. And I think that less is more sometimes. To keep it simple is better. I have a lot to say about this. I have a whole lot to say about this. As far as the deadlift goes, let's just talk about what that is. First of all, you can do a deadlift with dumbbells. You can do it with barbells, of course, which is the most common way. You can do it with sandbags. You can do it with kettlebells. You can do it with any kind of weight. In fact, you can even do single leg deadlifts. I mean, there's so many different variations. The deadlift is essentially the best full body exercise because it works everything. It works everything from your ankles, your calves, your knees, your quadriceps, your hamstrings, your glutes, your hip muscles, your gluteus medius to be exact. All right, all of your back, all of your arms. The only muscles that it doesn't really target necessarily would be like your pushing muscles, like your pectorals, your anterior deltoids, or like basically your front shoulder, and then your triceps. That's why I threw in the push-up, because the push-up works on your pushing your pushing muscles, your pushing power. And the reason I would take a push-up over bench press is because, number one, you don't need a bench, you don't need a barbell, you don't need a spotter. You know, the bench press requires equipment. It requires space. The push-up, there are countless types of push-ups. You can put more pressure on one arm as opposed to the other. You can do them anywhere. You don't need equipment. And I personally think that the bench press in and of itself is one of the least functional exercises of them all. Even though it's considered like one of the big three lifts, like squats, deadlifts, and bench press. I'm not saying that it doesn't serve its purpose for building strength, but I'm saying that for functionality and practicality, I don't really think that you need to be doing a lot of bench press. I think that especially if you're like a martial artist, especially, or just somebody who wants to be fit in general, I think that push-ups would be better because they work more on endurance. And like I said, there are countless variations of push-ups in which you can challenge yourself and make it more difficult. Whereas the bench press, you're just pushing up a bar and the same plane of motion. It's just a single plane of motion. You're only going to develop so much mobility and functionality out of that, albeit you can develop more raw strength and power than you would a push-up. And then the pull-up, lastly, would work on your biceps, your forearms, your lats, your back, your core. I just think that those are the top 3 best exercises because you cover everything. You cover your entire lower body, you cover your core with the push-up and deadlift, and with the pull-up, you cover all of your pulling muscles. You know, I know I've talked about this a bit, but all right, so like when I was 13 years old, I started getting prescribed antipsychotics. I was on the lithium. I was on antidepressants. I was on all different types of psych medication until the time I was 18. And I think with the combination of being pretty sedentary as a teenager, I mean, I was fairly active. Like I played a lot of drums and like I would play football with my friends. But all in all, I wasn't that active. I certainly didn't work out. And then I stopped doing that shit when I was 18. And then at the time I weighed like 240 pounds. Now I wasn't obese, but I was pretty fat. And I had gotten some pussy at this point. I had some pussy by the time I was 18. And it was with this girl, that I went to high school with. And obviously I'm not going to mention her, really talk about it personally, but that's the girl that I lost my virginity with. And I was nowhere near somebody who was sexually experienced. I mean, like, not even close. I mean, I got my rocks off a few times, but I don't think the sex was very satisfactory for myself and her as well. That being said, at the time, when I was still in high school, I had some friends down in Strasburg, Virginia. Like, I grew up in Winchester, Virginia, or I went to high school in Winchester, Virginia, rather, and then I had, there's a town south of Winchester about, 15, 20-minute drive called Strasburg, down Interstate 81. And I had a buddy that lived down there, and he was the bass player in the band, the band that we were in. He was a guy named Mike. Cool guy. Totally lost contact with him. Have no idea what he's doing now. But he had this roommate named Carol. And Carol, at the time, was 22 and I was 18. And just to paint a picture, she was a small town girl from Virginia. She was 22, like I said. She had 2 kids already with a dude she was not really, involved with or married to. She was a pretty heavy smoker. And let's just say that she was rather well versed in the sexual department. Let's just say that. But she was, for all intents and purposes, she was actually pretty attractive at the time. I don't know how she's looking now. It's been, 12 fucking years. If I had to guess, probably not going too well. Probably not looking too good. Never know. Her name was Carol. And she was a roommate, like I said, of the bass player in my band. And I was the drummer, of course. Anyways, I would go down there, a few days a week, whatever. And essentially what we do is we'd smoke a bunch of weed, drink beer, mostly smoke a bunch of pot. And that was kind of like our thing. And then what happened? So I was staying... What happened? Oh, yeah. Okay, so one day I'm in government class in high school, and this is at Millbrook High School. I actually went to this high school called Millbrook High School. You guys can look it up. Winchester, Virginia. And I was in government class, and I got called to the office. And the assistant principal suspended me. He basically sat me and I was like,
Mr. Howard, we've been informed that our English teacher feels threatened by you, and due to this action, we must proceed in your out of school suspension, OSS.
What had happened was I had an English teacher. It was her first year teaching English ever, or just first year teaching period. She was like her fucking rookie year, and she and I had a good rapport. Like, she and I would joke around. I had no reason to feel like she didn't like me or trust me, or I made her feel uncomfortable, and vice versa. And I actually knew where she lived. Not because I was stalking her, but because I actually knew where she lived. Like, I saw her drive home one day and whatever. And then one day in class, I forget the context of the story, but I casually said, "Oh yeah, I know where you live." And in my mind, I'm thinking like, I didn't know where you live. Big deal. Like, it's a pretty small town. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if she knew where I lived. Anyways, she was scared and I got suspended from that. So after I got out of the assistant principal's office, I went back to my government class. I marched in the room. I fucking got on my books and I took the desk and I threw it across, I literally threw it across the fucking room. And obviously I freaked everybody out. Like, people were, pretty scared, and rightfully so. And I obviously didn't handle that very well. I go out to the hallway. I punch my locker, I elbow it. I put a dent in it. I'm like, fuck, whatever. And and so I go get in my Jeep Wrangler. I immediately go to a tattoo shop called Helltown Tattoo, Winchester, Virginia. No longer there. No, pardon me. It's called State of the Art Tattoo. But it's now known as Helltown Tattoos in Front Royal, Virginia. Anyways, I digress. I got a tattoo, and I proceed to go to Mike's house in Strasburg, the bass player. So I was in a fucked up mood. I got my first tattoo. I was feeling all rebellious. And Carol was there. she was looking alright. She was looking alright. Not gonna lie, looking alright. Now, in hindsight, I know what a trash bag she is. I know how trashy she is, and I'm fucking getting to it. So chill out. So I'm getting baked, smoking copious amounts of marijuana, probably drinking beers, probably smoking cigarettes too. Who the fuck knows? Not giving a fuck basically. Stay the night, and I lay down on the couch, and Carol, kind of like pretty much just lays on top of me. She just lays on top of me, and her hair was smelling all good. And I could sense that obviously there was some kind of attraction there, because why would she do that if she wasn't attracted to me on some level? And I just started like playing with the hair and this and that, and we weren't kissing, but it got to a point where I was like, oh shit, like I'm not really sexually experienced, but this girl obviously is, and clearly she wants to do something. So we kind of talked. And we actually stayed the whole night like that. Like we spent the night. She just laid on top of me on the couch the whole night, which in hindsight was kind of cool. It was, just thinking back to that as a teenager, like that experience will never happen again. As a teenager, that was like almost like a magical, surreal experience for this like pretty hot girl to kind of throw herself at me totally unexpectedly. So we agree that one of the last days of my senior year, I'm gonna basically skip school and go to that house in Strasbourg. I'm gonna go there in the morning, and we didn't say it, but we were gonna fuck. We were gonna get busy. We were gonna get busy. All right. One thing leads to another. We start kissing, and she says, okay, no. So she goes and takes a shower real quick. And I'm thinking, okay, holy shit, great. So she comes out, takes her towel off, bare naked, like adult woman body that I'd never really seen before, because the girl I was with before was still kind of like a teenager. She wasn't fully developed yet, at least as much as Kara was, because she was already in her, her 20s and everything. She had a couple kids even, was still looking good. I didn't know what to do. She starts giving me head, and dude, I cannot get it up at all. And I'm just like so fucking embarrassed, dude. I'm so fucking embarrassed. I can't believe it. So she tries and tries and tries, and she's like, what are you, gay or something? And I'm just like, I don't know, I don't know, because I was attracted to her. I thought about women. I jerked off to women, all that type of stuff. I'd had sex with a girl before. It was no problem. But I think at this point I was so like, I felt like I was out of my league or something. And plus we had been friends up until then. So she ended up being very cool about it. And we spent the rest of the day together hanging out, and we agreed, hey, or she's like, hey, look, don't worry about today. How about you come over next week and we'll try it again. Just don't think about it so much. Just relax. I'm like, you know what? She's right. Just relax. This happens to guys. It's not like I'm the only guy this has ever happened to, right? So fast forward 1 week. I go back to the house. It's around nighttime, and we're hanging out in the bed again, of course. And we start making out, and she asked me what I wanted to do to her. I'm like, well, I really want to go down on you. That's what I told her. I'm like, it would be nice to go down on you. And no, I didn't stutter when I said it like I just did. It would be nice to go down on you. And I thought that if I went down on her, that it would give me a chance to loosen up a bit and, kind of get her going, get her excited and all that, without having to I don't know. I just figured it'd be a better way to go into it. Anyways, she says, all right, well, let me go take a shower real fast. And I'm like, cool. So she's going to be perfectly fucking clean. I have nothing she's going to be clean. She's taking it seriously. She wants to give me the best version of her sexually anyway. So she goes and takes a shower. And she's in there for 10 minutes. And I'm thinking, all right, I'm starting to get just a little bit nervous because the anticipation's building up. I start doing some push-ups. I try to get a little sweat going to get my heart pumped up. She comes back. She lays down. She disrobes. She gives me her body. And I'm like, cool. All right. So I start kissing her, all that, doing the whole, going from the lips, going down to the chest, the belly button, all that good stuff. And then I start eating her pussy. And I immediately am overwhelmed with this stench of like a litter box, like a kitten's litter box, a cat's litter box. And I'm thinking to myself, wait, did this bitch just not take a shower? Did she just not take a shower? And I not only smell a litter box with cat piss, I smell shit. It's as if she was doing this on purpose, which I don't think she was, but I think she had something wrong with her. She just didn't, she washed everything but her pussy and asshole. The only part that really needed to be clean, she didn't have clean. So I'm like trying to eat her pussy, and I'm trying to like block out the smell, like, okay, just block it out, it'll be fine. Because at this point, I'm like so desperate to, to get laid. And I just can't, like, my dick was going inside, like, my dick was shriveled up so much it was actually coming out of my asshole. That's how shriveled my cock was. And she starts to like rub me and stuff, and I just go up and I'm just like, look, Carol, I'm sorry, but I just can't do this. I just can't do it. Like I'm really tired, and I just kind of want to go now. And basically, she starts cussing me out, starts telling me to go to hell. I'm a fucking faggot. I don't know what a real woman is. All this type of stuff. And obviously, I was kind of like sort of traumatized in the moment, but I left. And needless to say, I never talked to her again. I never talked to my other friend, the bass player, ever again. That was all squashed. And I didn't have sex for another I didn't technically have sex with her, but I didn't have another sexual encounter, we'll say, for another 2 years after I got in shape, which I'm going to talk about in a second. And a similar thing happened with that girl, man. So my sexual experiences, in my late teens, early 20s were not good. Were not good at all. Why am I telling you this? I'm not sure. Maybe you guys can relate. It's the b-hole. I talk about whatever the fuck I want. But I'm just glad that now that I'm 30, and obviously I've had other girlfriends like in my mid-20s and late 20s where that was never an issue. I don't know why it was such an issue at first, man. Like getting it up and dealing with these stinky pussies. Like how many pussies have I actually been with? We'll just say I have experienced a 40% stinky pussy rate of all the pussies I've experienced. Pretty unfortunate. So anyways, like I said, when I was about 18 years old, I was like 240 fucking pounds. Wasn't obese, but I was chunky. I was very doughy. I was, it was to the point where, I'd be sweating just sitting down. One day I was in the shower. I looked down at myself, and yes, I could still see my penis. Thank God. And I'm like, you know what? I have to make a fucking change. I have to change something because I'm better than this. I always just wanted to see a vein in my arm. Just like a vein in my arm. And I never fucking had it. And I decided to join Gold's Gym in Winchester. And slowly but surely with, cutting out the soda, cutting out the bread, cutting out any, just common sense, guys. Just cutting out anything that makes you fat. I stopped eating it, stopped drinking it, and I was hitting the gym 5 to sometimes 7 days a week. Within 3 months, I lost, and I'm not lying here. Within 3 months, I lost, about 50 pounds. 50 pounds in 3 months. So my body was just dying to shed this fat. And it was all due to just poor diet and just being sedentary. Like my body was so ready to just melt this shit off. And I remember, going back and kind of looking at it, it's so fucking cringy, the shit I used to do. Because I was green in the whole fitness realm, I was the whole world was new to me. And the only thing that I really knew about fitness was what I saw in the bodybuilding scene. Which I'm going to talk a bit about. The whole bodybuilding scene, which is probably the most commonly thrusted method of fitness out there, especially for men and vanity and all that. Like where you see a magazine cover, it's a guy's fucking chiseled. He looks like a fucking Greek god statue. hairless body, veins in his stomach, veins everywhere, and he looks fake. He looks manufactured. He looks something that's not really attainable, and not only attainable, but sustainable, meaning long term. Having that look long term. I used to shave my legs. I used to shave my arms. I would shave my whole body because that's what all the fitness guys did. Like all the buffest dudes at my gym would shave themselves. And the reason they do that is simply because it brings out the cuts more. It's only for vanity. And I remember I was in this gym one day and I was doing squats or whatever, and I had shaved legs, and this really good looking woman kind of looked at me, and she looked at my legs, and I saw the look on her face. And she's like, "Do you shave your legs, dude?" And as soon as I saw the look on her face, I was like, wait. I'm doing something wrong here. Don't shave your fucking legs, man. That's lame. Like, to me, when you shave your body, like, especially like a grown man, because I'm a fairly hairy, naturally hairy guy. Not like a fucking hairy fat Italian dude or Greek guy. But you know what I mean. Like, I have manly features in terms of like chest hair, leg hair, arm hair, thankfully. And if you have to go out of your way to regularly shave and wax, to me, I'm not going to judge you, of course, because God knows fucking people judge me for the things I say. But I think that's kind of fucked up, and that's just taking it to a level that I'm not willing to take it to. That's just silly to me. Another thing that guys do is they tan themselves. They get fake tans. And if you ever watch like a bodybuilding competition, you have guys, and I'm going to quote the Joe Rogan podcast here. They got chocolate body. Chocolate body is this deal in professional bodybuilding where white dudes or guys that are basically not dark black naturally, like naturally dark black skin, will get a spray tan on their body to look like a black dude, to look dark black, but their face is white. It's the fucking weirdest thing. And the reason is because the darker your skin, the more your muscles show. That's why black dudes who are muscular and more, like defined, they look even more chiseled than even a white guy would, with the exact same proportions, the exact same musculature. Musculature was the word I was looking for. And muscle tone. Even though they're the same, the black dude will simply look more chiseled simply because of their skin tone. That's why bodybuilders do that. And I was trying to get into that for a bit. Not chocolate body necessarily, but just like trying to get more tan in the sun, shaving my legs and getting into the fucking protein powders. Like most of my protein consumption would come more from a synthetic protein powder than actual food. And of course I'd be on the fucking the Jack 3D, the Super Pump, the NO2, all the fucking the pre-workout supplements to basically blast more blood into your muscles to get a bigger pump, to give you energy to lift more. And as I matured over the years, I realized that obviously that's all a waste of your money. It's a fucking marketing ploy. Be happy with the skin I have. Like I don't tan anymore. I never really did. But when I did tan, it was only because like it was sunny outside and I just wanted to have my shirt off. Like I never tanned with the objective of looking more toned. I never, that's just so lame. In terms of taking protein powders, always get the bulk of your protein from food. In terms of a pre-workout, use your mind, or maybe caffeine possibly, because what I realized is that with the pre-workout supplements is that it's a drug, it's a stimulant. And I noticed I was taking more and more, and it wasn't really working. And one day I'm just like, I'm going to throw this shit out. I'm just going to use my own fucking rage. And that's what happened. That's what happened, man. So if anyone's just getting into working out, guys, I'm telling you, dude, get your protein from food. In terms of a pre-workout, go with coffee, go with getting sleep, and go with your own mind. Go with focus. And for the first, year or two, I was really working out. I had the bodybuilding style type of workout where I would do only the isolation exercises. I'm going to talk a bit about compound exercises and isolation and why I think, I'm just going to kind of compare the two. And bodybuilding is isolation exercise. Bodybuilding is vanity. Bodybuilding is sculpting. Now, I'm not taking anything away from bodybuilders. These guys, well, these men and women work fucking hard. Their lifestyle is not something I would ever want to indulge in, because with the meal planning, the systematic, the scientific lifestyle that they have, just to look a certain way for 5 minutes of an entire year for one fucking competition is absolutely incredible. And it's definitely admirable. But make no mistake about it, bodybuilders like that are not healthy. Bodybuilders like that are not athletic. They're not functional. They're not strong as a unit. So one day I was out with my dad. I was rotating some tires. I was rotating tires outside in the driveway, and I had to take this tire iron and, take off a fucking lug nut, of course. And I tried my damnedest. I tried to use my legs, my back, my arms to get this fucking thing off. And I couldn't do it. And I was frustrated because I'd already been working out. I got compliments, all the time from people like, "Oh man, you look buff, you're looking jacked, you're looking swole, dude." Even from my family, my friends, or just random people in public would look at my physique. Mind you, I don't look like this anymore, but I did in my early 20s because I had the bodybuilding style workout. And my dad got the fucking tire iron and effortlessly took it off. And he told me, he's like, "Look, the way you work out, you work out to make an individual muscle strong. You don't work out to make your body strong as a unit." And the second he said that, I realized, holy shit, I'm really missing out here, and I really got to think about what I'm doing, because I've been walking around thinking I'm like this strong ass motherfucker when I was weight room strong. I was isolation exercise strong. I could curl a lot. I could do a lat pull down, or I could work individual muscles and lift a lot of weight. But when it came to squatting heavy or deadlifting heavy, I wasn't really there. And that's when I realized that compound exercise is the way to go, like a powerlifting, or more like a powerlifting routine supplemented with isolation. So for example, and guys, I'm not going to talk all about this the whole time. I'm just giving you guys like an overview, so you guys can learn something here. The best way to build overall muscle, the best way to to burn the most calories in the least amount of time, and to build the most functional strength, are to do compound exercises, which simply means working more than one muscle at a time. So, for example, let's talk about legs. Compound exercises for legs. Obviously, the squat. It works everything. The deadlift, the leg press even, lunges, of course. And then isolation exercises would be something like the hamstring curl, the leg extension, the seated calf raise. You're just working one muscle. Upper body. When guys try to build their upper body, you see them doing a lot of this. You see them just doing the chest fly, which just works the pecs. You see them working the tricep extensions, which just get the tricep. Just the shoulder press, which just gets the shoulders. And I could go on and on about this all fucking day. The shoulder has 3 muscles. The shoulder has 3 heads. Most guys just work the anterior delt, which means the front. Most guys don't work the lateral delt or the rear delt, which is really what builds full body back strength, and what really builds width, like shoulder width and broadness in the shoulders. You see these kind of dudes in the gym too. You see these guys, and my brother and I always call them gay jacked. Gay jacked dudes are this. Gay jacked are the kind of guys where, okay, you can always spot a dude who's gay jacked based on his pecs, number one. If a dude's pecs are abnormally large compared to the rest of his body, he's gay jacked. I'm not saying he's gay, but I'm saying that he does it for vanity. And to me, if you work out just for vanity, that's kind of a feminine quality. That's kind of not to be respected amongst men, in my opinion, because men naturally shouldn't be as vain as a woman. I get it with a woman because a woman wants to be beautiful. A woman by her nature is insecure with her looks. Like she wants to be thought of as beautiful. Whereas a man, if you're that insecure with your looks to where you have to devote that much time into making your pecs that big, to me, you're gay jacked. You're only doing isolation workouts. And isolation only workouts, aka bodybuilding or being gay jacked or fitness model jacked, you're always doing it for vanity. And that comes with insecurity and the everlasting need for approval. You know, there's guys who are gym bros and then there's power lifters and strength athletes, pardon me. All right. Gym bros are dudes who typically just work upper body. They're just doing pecs, shoulders, arms, back, fuck legs, because who gives a fuck about legs, right? These are the guys who work out, they're buff as fuck, with pants on, and then then their objective of being jacked is to go to the bar on the weekends, hit on slutty chicks, get drunk, get laid, and rinse, wash, repeat, or whatever the fuck the saying is. You know what I'm saying? And then you got guys who are powerlifters, who are actually legitimately really fucking strong. They're legitimately really fucking strong people. But they don't get to go to a bar and get all the bitches because they probably have a gut. They probably look kind of fat. And women at the bar, especially like the slutty kind that are just looking for a buff dude, they don't give a fuck how much you can deadlift. They don't care that you're actually 5 times stronger than the guy wearing the fucking sleeveless tap-out shirt, you know, with the pants on to cover up his fucking chicken legs. You know, I could talk a lot about this, but I don't want to take up this entire episode with just talking about the gym. But I will say this. Anybody that is looking to build a strong, healthy, functional, and respectable body need to focus on compound exercises, aka deadlifts, squats, dips, push-ups, pull-ups. You know, there's all different types. And then supplement it with isolation exercises to have more of the shape. You know, so you can actually kind of have that element of vanity, backing it up with a legitimately strong frame, a legitimately strong foundation that you get from the compound exercises. You can do things like bicep curls, tricep extensions, those are pretty much the big two, because guys want to have big arms, right? You know, having big pecs, it is not functional. It's not functional. Like if you look at some of the best fighters in UFC and boxing and all that, and you see the guys with the really big pecs and the overly muscled muscled upper bodies, these guys throw sloppy punches. They're slow because your muscles slow you down. Your muscles get built up with lactic acid. It slows you down. It's only really good for the intimidation factor. Some of the best strikers in the UFC, any kind of combat sport, the fastest, most fluid, most graceful strikers are typically guys that don't carry a lot of extra muscle. Check out Cain Velasquez, the heavyweight champ. Stipe Miocic, especially Cain Velasquez, because this dude looks like he's never worked out a day in his life. And you see how he throws his combinations. He doesn't have all that tight muscle to slow him down. Stipe Miocic, Stephen Thompson, Jorge Masvidal. Even a guy like Conor McGregor. Yeah, like he's shredded, but he's not jacked. He's not overly muscled. Anyways, I feel like I've worn out my welcome with gym talk. I could talk a lot about this simply because I know a lot about it. Let's get to some of the comments I got on my channel. I'm only going to read like 2 or 3 here. Andrew Briggs. Shout out to Andrew Briggs. This guy has been watching my channel for a long time. He always leaves comments and shit. So shout out to you, man. He says, I'm dying watching this video. You're a funny motherfucker. And this is in reference to, okay, so when I was in Phnom Penh, I made this video called, "And This Is Why I Don't Want Gay Friends." And I basically told 2 different stories of my time in Phnom Penh where I befriended gay guys. And it was kind of my fault, I guess, at the end of the day, it was kind of my fault for this not working out. But on both these occasions, these guys regularly wanted to have sex with me and be intimate with me, and were essentially only my friend in the hope of having sex with me. And then over time, when they realized that it wasn't going to happen, they started kind of taking it out on me. They started being spiteful. They started being, vindictive and mean. And obviously, we stopped being friends. And these were people that when I first met them, they were great. They, we would hang out a lot. I'd meet their friends. I'd get to know other people. We'd have good conversations. But in the back of their mind, they were doing it just in hopes. Now, I can't help that I'm a sexy motherfucker, I can't help that I'm good looking and I got this square jaw and these pretty blue eyes and all that. I know that. And the reason I said I don't want gay friends is because I don't really want to hang out with gay people anymore. It's not that I'm homophobic or I have an issue with gay people. I don't care what you do. But based on my experience, literally every time I make a gay friend, it's awkward, it's weird, and it doesn't work out. So why waste my fucking time? Here in Mexico City, there is a guy that I went to high school with. And I'm not going to say his name out of respect. But there's a guy that I went to high school with, and we actually connected a few months ago. And I said, hey, man, I'm coming to Mexico City soon. It'd be cool to meet up and catch up, because we went to high school together. And then, we followed each other on Instagram or whatever. And then how on Instagram, you can see who people follow and, you can see what kind of pages they like and stuff. Well, a suggestion for a page that I should follow came up, and it was from this guy. And it's basically a page dedicated to men's bare feet. And apparently this guy follows multiple pages dedicated to men's stinky feet, men's bare feet, and men's sweaty socks. Needless to say, the guy must be gay. And also needless to say, I'm not going to be hanging out with the guy. It's unfortunate because maybe he's cool, but based on my experience, I'm 30 years old. I'm going to trust my gut. I'm set in my ways. Sorry, I'm not going to be hanging out with any gay dudes. At least one-on-one. That's my point. One-on-one, hanging out all the time, being buddies, not going to happen because I know how it goes. I know how it goes, man. All right, so if any gay guys are listening, sorry, but, maybe you're not all like that, but dude, that's my story. I'm fucking sticking to it. See what else we got here. I'll just read this last one here from Jay Campbell. This is a mean one, guys. This is not. He said, all right, so this is in reference to having sex with a Khmer ladyboy for $20. And I made this a long time ago. I made this damn near 2 years ago. Jay Campbell writes, you're living at your parents', probably with no job. So you start a YouTube channel talking about ladyboys. You even got a Patreon? Laugh my ass off. Why should people donate to your Patreon? You have no talents. You're a weirdo, homo bum looking for a handout. If I was your parents, you mean if I were your parents, I'd kick your weird ass out, LOL. Well, that's not very nice now, is it? Now, let's just go ahead and make this right. So I was living at my parents' after Cambodia. I did have a job, actually. I was working for a tree service. I was a low-key lumberjack, guys. Pretty fucking badass. So I was actually making good money. So you can go fuck your mother on that one, Jay. I did not start a YouTube channel talking about ladyboys. However, as my YouTube channel and my life developed, I ended up talking about my experience with that and my experience and interest in transgender women. Simply because it was interesting to talk about, and a lot of people were very interested in it. Not only interested, but inspired. If you go on my Instagram, I bet half of my fucking followers, and albeit I don't have a big Instagram following, just for the record, but I bet half of my followers are trans women. Simply because they saw my videos, they appreciated the message, and it kind of made them feel a bit more normal. Because a lot of these people don't have a voice. They're scared to come out. They're scared to talk about who they are. They're scared to be honest about who they are. And to have a guy like me, who I'm just a regular dude, talk openly about my transgender relationship, and my openness to it. Which I'm actually really glad I did. And listen, if you don't want to donate to my Patreon, which really nobody does, if you don't want to watch my channel, then go fuck yourself as well. You say I have no talent. Well, I actually do have talent. I'm an excellent drummer. I'm an excellent painter. I can draw. I make good videos. I'm an excellent brother. I'm an excellent friend. I'm a good boyfriend. You know, I'm good at talking to people. I'm good at meeting people. I'm good at going outside the box and trying things that most people won't. While you're sending me a mean-ass comment on YouTube. And I'm just thankful that I do have great parents that are always supportive of me, and I always have a place to stay if I need, you know. And a lot of people don't have that. And that's cool, man. You know, you're obviously allowed to say whatever you want on YouTube, but I can also rebuttal and explain to you why you're wrong. So if anybody wants to find that on having sex with a Kamai ladyboy for $20, it's a person by the name of Jay Campbell. Go ahead and troll the fuck out of that motherfucker. Blow him up. Blow him up. Honestly, I don't care, man. Shout out to Jay Campbell. I appreciate the time that you took out of your day to insult me. All right, got a couple emails here. Let's see. All right, this is from a gentleman named, I'm going to say Oscar. I'm just going to say Oscar. I'm not going to be a douchebag. Oscar is from Australia. He has been emailing me for quite a while now, so shout out to you, buddy. Seems to be a fan of mine, always has nice things to say. You know, we talk quite a bit about, you know, Cambodia, PC culture in Australia and all that. And there does seem to be a big wave of PC culture in Australia, you know, to be quite honest. He emailed me. He said, "Hey bro, just thought of something. Occasionally I get severe migraines. I don't take any painkillers. However, I'm thinking that when I go back to Cambodia, I will probably use painkillers of some kind in the event that I get a proper headache. Is there anything like morphine or something available in the pharmacies there? What would you recommend for severe headaches?" Well, thankfully, I've never had an issue with migraines or headaches really, at least on a regular basis. When I do, I take shit like ibuprofen or even caffeine is known to work very well. Like if you take Excedrin, it's got acetaminophen and actually a lot of caffeine in it. One of the best things for a hangover, in fact, you know, of course, water, of course, you know, but actually caffeine can kind of help to alleviate the symptoms of a headache. Now let's talk about painkillers and getting them in Cambodia. Number one, I don't recommend you take any kind of opioid painkiller for headaches because they're opioids, dude, because they're super addictive. You know, you might have a headache, take some tramadol, morphine, OxyContin. Yeah, I guarantee your headache's going to go away. But when that drug wears off and your body gets the itch for the more of that drug, I bet your headache might be twice as worse. And then it might come with other symptoms like achy bones, a sore stomach, possible fucking psychological problems like mood swings. You know, I would not recommend taking an opiate for medical use unless it's something like severe pain. Now, again, like I said, I don't have experience with migraines, so I don't know what it's like. So maybe it is really, really, really bad. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just suggesting that maybe you try something that's not an opioid first, simply for its addictive potential. Do they have morphine there? Yeah, I used to get the 30 milligram morphine tablets, $5 a piece. If you guys want to know the pharmacy in which sold these, shoot me an email, nojokestriking@gmail.com, bitches, or follow me on Instagram and DM me, and I can give you guys a little bit of a heads up of where they sell this type of stuff, because they don't sell morphine at every pharmacy. However, pretty much at every pharmacy you can find things like tramadol, usually with codeine. Most of the codeine pills are going to be cut with paracetamol. So for you to get high on it, you need to take quite a bit. A lot of them do sell codeine syrup as well. Tramadol, yeah, like I said, is everywhere. But what would I recommend for a severe headache? Like I said, caffeine, ibuprofen, Advil, water, maybe lay down. But dude, please don't get into opiates over there. I did it, and I really thought that it would never happen to me, and it did. Really, really fucking bad. Really, really bad. I actually got another email, but I think I'm going to save that for another episode just because I'm already at 45 minutes and I want to talk about the UFC Brooklyn that just happened this last Saturday. I want to give like a little post-fight analysis, kind of just go over it, talk a bit about it. So let's talk about, let's see here. Any news that came from it. Dennis Bermudez did retire, long-time featherweight, beat some of the best in the world. Never got the belt, but was always game, was always a tough opponent for everybody. And it was cool to see him retire on a win. And, you know, obviously, if you're a casual fan, meaning that you're not really follow it like me, you probably don't know who the guy is. But good to see him retire, you know, and it's good to see that he retired, unlike a lot of guys do, where they wait till it's way too late and they get knocked out 7 fucking times in a row and then they finally decide to retire. So he retired healthy. He's got other business ventures. Good looking guy, very well spoken. Believe he has a cooking channel on YouTube. So intelligent, very talented dude. Let's see. One of the first bantamweight fights, Corey Sandhagen versus Mario Batista. Corey Sandhagen is an up-and-coming bantamweight in the UFC. Very interesting dude, very nice guy, very athletic. Came from a basketball background. You know, the fight before this, he fought, I forget his name, but he fought a Brazilian guy where he almost got his arm ripped off. And he toughed it out. And I think he did get his arm snapped, but then came back in the second round, TKO'd him. Then came back in this fight and hit this guy, Batista, with a flying knee. First round, and then got a sweet-ass submission. Corey Sandhagen, I think, is going to be a force to be reckoned with in the bantamweight division. I think he's going to be ranked now, so it's always cool to see new competition coming into these divisions instead of seeing the same guys for 5 fucking years. There's a couple fights there I could talk about, but I'm just going to get straight to this one now. This was the main event of the prelim card. Obviously, this should have been the co-main event to this entire event. Alexander Hernandez versus Donald Cerrone. Now, Alexander Hernandez is an up-and-coming lightweight in the UFC. He made his UFC debut with a 42-second knockout against Beneil Dariush. Had another decision win against, who did he beat? I forgot who he beat. But it was by decision, and then he came in with Donald Cerrone. Now, if you guys watched the press conference before the fight, Alexander Hernandez was nothing but disrespectful and very insulting to Donald Cerrone, who is a veteran. By the way, Donald Cerrone has the most wins in UFC history, has the most finishes in UFC history, and is, in my opinion, aside from winning the belt, he's the most accomplished UFC fighter of all time, I think. It's kind of hard to not put him at one of the greatest of all time. He hasn't won the belt yet. Totally tore up Donald Cerrone in the press conference. And my biggest fear with Donald Cerrone was the weight cut. He'd been fighting at 170 for the last, 6-7 fights. Hardly had a weight cut, but started losing a couple. He only lost a couple. And Donald Cerrone made a great point. He's like, when I was fighting at welterweight, I didn't have to be. I didn't have to be as serious. I could drink beer. He said I could eat burgers all the time because I didn't have a weight cut. He said at 155 he was forced to be more serious about his craft, about his career, because he had to make the weight. He had to focus more on his skill and the weight cut. Needless to say, if you didn't watch the fight, it started off very, very well. And Donald Cerrone, you saw his experience, you saw his veteran nature, because Alexander Hernandez came in there guns blazing, blowing all this energy. He'd throw 5 punches and land 1. Where Donald Cerrone would lay back. He would lay back, throw 2 punches, land them both clean. Just like that old saying goes, there was a baby cow and a father cow. And the baby, and they're standing on top of a hill, right? 2 cows, a father and a son. And the son says, "Hey, let's run down this hill and let's go fuck one of those cows." And the father looks down at the son and he said, "Hey, let's walk down the hill and fuck them all." And that's what I saw with Donald Cerrone. He pulled off his he just pulled off his craft, man. He pulled off an excellent win. I was so happy to see him beat the young, cocky, fucking smartass, fucking douchebag Alexander Hernandez, and he knocked him out in the second round with a head kick. Well, not with the head kick, but that started it. He dropped him with a head kick, TKO'd him on the ground. Great win for Donald Cerrone. Hopefully he can fight a guy like Dustin Poirier next, Ali Quinta, Conor McGregor, possibly Tony Ferguson, which would be a killer fight, and get that lightweight belt, or at least a title shot. Glover Teixeira versus Carl Robinson. I was happy to see Glover Teixeira get a win. Got Carl Robertson on the ground, who is an excellent striker. He's got he's got excellent striking, excellent stand-up skills, but way less experience, Carl Robertson has a 7-2 record. Glover Teixeira has a 28-7 record. So, yeah. Good to see Glover get the win and, still going strong. Women's flyweight, Paige Van Zandt versus Rachel Ostovich. Actually a good fight. I was surprised to see a finish. Rachel Ostovich at the end got her arm dislocated, which, it was, that kind of sucks to see. Like, I enjoy a good fight, but when you see, and it's not just the fact that they're women, but when you see somebody get seriously hurt like that, albeit she didn't get her arm broken in half, but it was sort of disturbing to see her arm pulled out of socket, but that's what she signed up for. Cool to see Paige get the win. And I'm not going to talk any shit about Ostovich or anything. It was a good fight. I'm sure she'll be back soon, even though she wears too much makeup, looks kind of like a tranny. Anyways, I digress. Flyweight fight, Joey Benavidez versus Ortiz. Yeah, it was a good competition. Joey Benavidez is one of two guys to beat Henry Cejudo, who is the reigning flyweight champion. He beat him, and Demetrius Johnson beat him. Now, the UFC, there's a lot of controversy. There's a lot of talk about, are they going to get rid of the flyweight division? Based on that fight, I don't see why they would not, because the flyweight division it's got the least eyes on it. It puts the least asses in the seat, sells the least pay-per-views, is the least talked about division in the UFC. Hopefully these guys in the flyweight division, let's say that the flyweight division goes out. Let's say they just scratch it and they're like, look, no more flyweight. We're just going bantamweight and up. I hope that these flyweights can either find a home in another league like Bellator, or ONE FC over in Asia. I know that in Asia they have smaller fighters over there because it's Asia, and I feel that they have a home over there. Or a lot of them can simply just move up to bantamweight. And some of the bantamweights can move up to featherweight, and so on and so forth. I think that we're seeing over time, we're seeing over time that all these fighters are moving up a weight class, and they're doing better because they're healthier, they feel better, and they can focus more on skill development and strength and strength training and conditioning rather than just the weight cut, which takes away from their development as a fighter. I mean, does that not make sense, guys? Plus, it makes for more fights for the fans. There's also the argument that you could have more weight classes, starting with bantamweight at the least. But I would like to see guys move up a weight class because I just feel like they're going to perform better, man, personally. Gregor Gillespie versus Yancy Medeiros. Started off kind of boring, but in the post-fight speech, Gillespie told the crowd that although it was boring at first, there's a method to his madness. He wanted to soften Yancy Medeiros up. He wanted to hold him against the cage, get his arms tired, get his legs tired, get him tired as a unit, take him down, TKO him. That's exactly what happened. Gillespie is a lightweight up-and-comer. He's undefeated. He's looking like a fucking beast. He's a lot like Khabib in the sense that he just mauls you. Once he gets his hands on you, you're going to the fucking ground. He grounds and pounds you. But on the feet, he's also got strong, heavy boxing. He's got solid hands. And I like to see a step up in competition for him. I would like to see him fight, a top 10 guy soon. Absolutely. So good fight. The lightweight division's always exciting, man. It's the deepest division I think besides the welterweight division. Co-main event. Where do I fucking begin? This fight should have been on the early prelims, and the fight that should have taken this place should have been Donald Cerrone versus Alexander Hernandez. Like, how can you have Donald Cerrone on the prelims and a guy like Greg Hardy, who is, very inexperienced, fighting in the co-main event? Not only co-main event for UFC, but the ESPN debut. So for the world to see it, like, they're going to see that. Like, the UFC is the top promotion for mixed martial arts in the world. They promote the best, most refined fighters on the planet. And instead of serving us a gourmet fucking meal, they gave us a frozen dinner that was half cooked with ice still on the fucking Salisbury steak. Guys, get what I'm saying? Greg Hardy came from the NFL, had a few amateur bangers, on a fucking county fair, got a couple of first round knockouts because he's a big, powerful guy. He's 3-1 now with 1 disqualification loss. He has no business fighting in the UFC. Now, some people might argue, well, what about CM Punk? Well, good point. But CM Punk at least had more training before he fought, especially in his last fight against Mike Jackson. He took a year or two off, and he actually at least had legitimate training at a fucking legit camp. Now, Greg Hardy does train, I believe, with American Top Team, but dude, you saw his lack of experience in this fight. I do think he has potential. But he has no business fighting in the co-main event. He fought a guy, Alan Crowder, who I'll be honest, I don't know much about Alan Crowder. I know that in the second round, Alan Crowder started talking shit to Greg Hardy. He's like, "But you fucking hit a girl, you're a bitch, come at me," and he was punching Greg Hardy in the face because Greg Hardy a while ago was convicted of domestic battery against a woman. And, he talks about how he wants to be forgiven for his mistake. He wants to be forgiven for his misbehavior and doesn't want to be seen as that. Well, let me just break this down for you. A mistake is maybe shoplifting. A mistake is hold on. Sorry guys, I had a little emergency there. A mistake is to quit your job without a 2 weeks notice. A mistake is maybe even to get a DUI or to get arrested for drugs or something like that. But if you get arrested for beating a woman, especially if you're a guy who's an NFL athlete, a guy who walks around at nearly 300 pounds of muscle, and you beat a woman, that's not a mistake. That's you. That's who you are as a person. That's a personality trait. That is a reflection of who you are as a person. And then you go and you knee a downed opponent in the head, and his excuse was, and there were people that defended Greg Hardy. Oh, well, he's new. He didn't know the rules. What do you mean you didn't know the fucking rules, dude? Everybody knows the rules. You're not supposed to do that. In the back before the fight, the ref comes back, he tells you the rules. Don't knee a down opponent. Don't try to manipulate the fingers. Don't pull at the shorts. Don't grab onto the fence. Greg Hardy is not that dumb. He's been doing this for well over a couple of years now. He's been training with actual professionals. He knows you're not supposed to. The reason he kneed Alan Crowder in the head is because, number one, he was getting tired. Number two, he was mad at Alan Crowder for taunting him about beating up a woman. And number three, he's a bad dude. He's a fucking bad dude. And he took it out, even though he knew it was wrong. And then he tried to play the whole card. Oh, I didn't know. It wasn't my fault. I didn't know the rules. I've never cheated in my life. Greg Hardy, I would love to see him fight again. Obviously, I want to see him get seriously hurt. You can look in his eyes when he talks. He's dead behind the eyes. He's creepy. I don't like him. No, but I don't think anybody really likes him. But if he can make a career out of knocking people out, then he'll have a job in the UFC. I don't really want to talk more about it. Simply because he fucking annoys me. I don't like his face. Main event, Henry Cejudo versus TJ Dillashaw. Wow, dude. Wow. You know, I was totally pumped up to see this fight just like we all were. Obviously, early stoppage. Of course, early stoppage. Dillashaw has been rocked. He's been hurt in fights before, like with Cody Garbrandt and a few others as well, where they didn't stop the fight. The guy, I think the ref's name was Kevin McDonald for the New York State Athletic Commission. I don't believe that he should have been reffing that fight because his lack of experience showed. However, with that being said, I do believe that Henry Cejudo in that position on top with Dillashaw kind of out of it and wobbled, I do believe he still would have got the win, honestly. TJ Dillashaw, I believe he underestimated Cejudo. He didn't think that Cejudo would come out guns blazing. He didn't think that he'd come out so fast and hot and heavy and aggressive. And he paid for it. Because Henry Cejudo wasn't fucking around. You know, like him or not, you know, I personally think he's just a bit annoying. But the dude is to be respected. He's a gold medalist. He's one of the best wrestlers on the planet. He's proven himself to be one of the best mixed martial artists on the planet. And he's the flyweight champ. There's really not a whole lot to say about it because the fight was only 32 seconds. I really feel for Dillashaw, of course, because he prepared for 12 weeks to go down, 10 more pounds, take on the champ, and got stopped in the first 32 seconds. There's a lot of ways to look at it. I mean, Henry Cejudo says he's going to go up to bantamweight now, take on Dillashaw for his belt at 135. I'm praying to all that's good and holy that's a more competitive, entertaining fight, just like we hope for with this fight. And again, does that mean that the flyweight division is squashed? Listen, man, with that fight with Joey Benavidez and Dustin Ortiz, like that was kind of a sleeper, man. Like that was kind of it was a good fight, yeah, but it's not exactly a reason to keep the flyweight division around, especially if it's costing the UFC money. All the travel expenses, the bonus money, the win money, the show money, all that type of shit, when it's not even really popular at all. I'd like to see Cejudo just go up to fucking bantamweight and stay there. Why not? Because that's where he started out at the beginning of his career anyway. Very, very, very disappointed to see that with TJ Dillashaw, man. That really sucked to see that. Super, super bummed out. He's already shredded at 135. And then he goes down to 125. He just looked, I just don't think it was a smart call, man. I think it was ballsy, and it's admirable to do that, and I get it, for his legacy, and I get it for, just the ballsiness of it. Because very few guys would do that. So I hope he stays at bantamweight, and the good news for Dillashaw is he still has the belt at bantamweight. So, anyways, I have a lot of fights to look forward to. I guess we all do. I'll talk more about them in the upcoming B-holes. If you guys would like me to discuss a question in a No Joke Howard video or the B-hole, as always, guys, please email me at nojokestriking@gmail.com. Bitches. Also, you guys can DM me on Instagram. You guys can send me questions there. Say what's up. Follow me. All that good stuff at Brayton Howard. All that will be in the description box below. You guys have a good one. Take care of yourself. Peace.